we open on the central bastion of Storm's Mandate, the fortress built upon the back of Torlin, the island-sized turtle-like Leviathan. And there we zoom in and we see the central bastion, this massive tower erected from the center of the shell and going upwards. We pan through one of the open shutters inside where we see a grand host has been assembled. We see sitting around the table, at the head, you see Tequila Brightmane, the Stormcast Lord Cassellant, and around him in a semicircle, you all recognize various representatives of the islands that you had liberated and added to your mandate thus far. You see Bolga Thanebreaker of Gromerstown, Jabari Hawk of Spiresquall, Okri Okerson, who's the first mate of the Acclimate Fleet, Hamhag Umberforge, Runesmith of Caldera Isle, Mollusk, Branch Witch of the Driftbark Glade, Ekrund, representative of Glade's Edge, and Uric Galmet Burke of Westercast. Circling around the outside, you notice other figures that have been kind of in relation to you before. You see Biggs Thunderguns, you see Feral, and you see Vernie Bergsbottom serving up some roasting fish next to the hearth on the eastern side of the room. Now, the five of you... Wait, hang on. Yes, the five of you, that's right, are seated on the opposite side of this giant round table. And just to refresh the audience and honestly, just to maybe reflect how your characters have changed in appearance since we saw them the last time, I'm going to ask each of you to do a quick description of your characters. So who's sitting on the far left, and we'll just work our way over. Just jump in.
Is Bort not with us?
Bort is actually not with you.
Okay.
Secret surgeries, probably.
Oh, some mysterious cup they drank from.
Phallus will probably be sitting next to Meriss, so I'll go after Dylan whenever that is.
I'll go first, because I'm sitting. I want to be sitting in the back. Not wanting to block others with his bulk, Frostglade is, probably sitting cross-legged, near a wall somewhere. He's fully recovered from the battle with Grimrod, where he was shredded and nearly killed. So his cloak of moss and vines has regrown. He's got the spiky, branchy crown, and the pauldrons, they're all back or nearly back to where they were. And the influence of the Driftwood Glade and the time he spent with them, that can be seen with small coralline growths on his left knee, his left elbow, maybe his left shoulder. His runes are glowing softly, greens and blues, and he's sharing friendly nods with the others, which is something he never did, certainly didn't do much before. And he's rumbling contentedly, assuming this is okay with Meriss, as he's pawing at Pickles, playing, a little chase as the Mistori is chittering, leaping across his branches through his cloak, and he's just having a little game while he keeps half an eye on the proceedings.
I think Cassandra would be right next to him, maybe arm on his shoulder as he sits there, leaning up on him with a cup of hot bean water, as it were. She's got her classic attire on. She's wearing her bright red poncho, underneath which she holds a full assortment of weaponry and an innumerable amount of bullets, literally not countable. And her 10-gallon hat is tipped over her face as she listens on to the proceedings.
Meriss is, kind of smushed right in there. She had a recent shave, so she still got her rat tail. It's much longer than when she first joined the binding, so she's probably got a rat tail down her back now. Hair is all nice and done, and she wanted to look pretty today, so she decided to wear a dress, which she never does, except this dress just kind of looks like a clean potato sack. It's material. When I say potato sack, it's just straight and down, and she probably has a flower in her hair, and she's throwing every so often she might throw a treat. It seems like it's at Frostglade, but actually Pickles, and Pickles would jump out and grab the treat and run back to Frostglade.
Every so often, Frostglade gets in there.
Yeah, he tries to catch him.
His mouth. Pickles steals it out of his mouth.
Oh my gosh. Phallus probably, as he takes his seat, puts a hand on Meriss's shoulder as he walks past her. He is wearing the Sea Dragon cloak that the trademark of Corsairs. But unlike, your regular elf, he is tall, stocky, has a big, bushy black beard with various kind of like trinkets and talismans kind of tied with little ribbons mixed in throughout his beard there. And he's got this kind of, I would say, like a big, goofy, but also confident smile on his face as he sits down. Like he has a cup of the hot bean water, which he kind of sips kind of tentatively, and decides like maybe this is not for me, and just leaves it there on the table. And yeah,
Nice. Argos is sitting like he's sitting next to Tequila, just not really socializing at all.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. He's still in armor, so he still has his like slate gray Sigmarite armor. His like right arm is like a rich like blood red color. He's actually taken off his helmet, which is the first time he's done it since you've all met him. And and underneath his face is his features
Filthy.
are like, yeah. No, he's got very like long kind of gaunt features. Like the best way I pictured it is like almost like Bill Nighy, like the actor, like the cheekbones and like the sunken cheeks. But he has barely any color to his face. Like he's like clay that's been fired like maybe like 10 minutes. And his eyes are like milky white, and he's got like black hair slicked back. But he just sits there, just like, yeah, he's kind of gross.
Disgusting.
We need like a mortician to come in and like paint up his face, like they do.
Yeah, he's like a body on a slab.
He needs to eat a salad and get some red meat in him.
have some celery.
Yeah, pretty much. So his face and his voice do not match up at all. Kind
Oh
of.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so he's just kind of sitting there, just waiting for the proceedings to start.
Cool. Yeah. So we'll kind of advance past a little bit. We have your party has not necessarily met each of these individuals around the table, but after a moment of a few introductions, Tequila kind of like clears his throat and says, "Well, we have a great many things that we need to talk about. Does anyone want to start?" And he actually looks to you folks to see if there's anything that you want to discuss with the group.
Oh, dang it.
I'd like to talk about a raise.
There is a light chuckle throughout the room, like, oh.
Cassandra's confused. She really did want to talk about a raise.
Give me some money. Frostglade's going to look around and say, "The children of Mathlan, they're out there."
There's a slight murmur, and one of the I think Hamhag kind of speaks up like, "Oh, I got to remember what Hamhag sounds like. I did this to myself." "What are you talking about? What are the children of Mathland?"
I wouldn't know. I'm not very good at math.
Frostglade sits up and looks, and unfortunately his eyes fall on Meriss with a little bit of pleading on his face.
Meriss throws a treat at his face.
Okay, well, do you know what? Fine, Frostglade will take it. That's okay.
Sure, give the guy with the grunty, like, yeah, this is gonna be
fine.
tough.
It'll be fine. I got it. Frostglade sits in the awkward silence for a few moments, and then starts to rumble as if he's like working his way up to him, speaking. And he says, "The children are worshippers of the dead god Mathlan. They wish for him to return, but they are in opposition to our main enemy." Frick, what's that guy's name? The Revenant Sire, who is named Namanoth. It all comes back to Frostglade in his brain. So he pauses and looks around the room for dramatic effect, and then he almost whispers the word Namanoth, the Revenant Sire.
So if you're looking around the room, why don't you go ahead and roll an intuition mind?
I'm the best at those. I hope other people are also rolling that.
Tell me how many 4s you get.
Okay.
Nobody else rolled, just Isaac.
Just Isaac.
If you're waiting, if you're looking for it, it's up to you guys. You tell me what your characters would be doing.
I got 3 dice. Guess how many 4s I got and above?
5.
None.
3. I got a 4, a 5, and a 6 here, dudes.
Okay, sweet. So you see a mixture of awareness, complete like unawareness, and some things more. So you notice that upon hearing that, there's a few folks in this room that do react. Uric Burke of Westercast, Ekram from Glade's Edge, and Mollusk, the Branch Witch, all kind of like I've heard of that name before, but there is a great murmur that ripples up around the room.
Nice. I made a note to talk to those 3 folks at some point for sure. Frostglade will say also that once the murmurs die down, he'll say, Torlin is one of the children of Mathlan. I'm just dropping bombs.
Mic drop.
I mean, Cassandra's pretty shocked as well. As a group, we don't like really talk about this stuff too much, like in universe. I think
our feelings, yeah.
We
except me.
it's actually something that I've noticed, and that perhaps maybe we can kind of like solve in the future. But like we as characters don't really talk about what's happened to us very often, and I think maybe even by design, because we're sent out on these missions and we don't really have a lot of communication. So like Cass is kind of like sitting there, just like, where did this come from? What, like, the children, we're riding on the child of a dead god?
Surprise.
Is that what you say? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
He talks about his feelings this way.
Surprise.
I am surprised.
Disappointed.
Okay, so Frostglade's going to say one last thing, and hopefully other people talk after that. He'll say, my greatest fear is that Namanoth will have to come here to achieve his goals. He will target us and Torlin directly, and I do not know if we are ready.
I'm going to pause and let you folks react to this stuff first, because that's exactly what Franco was kind of mentioning. Like, you guys are talking about this amongst each other as well at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is we're riding on the child of a dead god?
Yep.
What does this mean? Like, what?
I'll tell you what it means, Cass. It means I can't hunt that merworm anymore. That's all I remember. They made some promise, and apparently I'm not allowed to go and hunt a large whale, fire whale.
I sympathize with you, Val, but what does this mean? Like, why would the Sark be coming for Torlin?
Well, it means that there are 6 great creatures, 6 beasts that this sire hunts. One of them is in fact Torlin, and unfortunately, it also means that merworm that the Corsair here wanted to hunt is also one of them. And unfortunately, we believe that the life force of these creatures will empower the Revenant Sire.
To what end? Is he trying to become some sort of new god? Some new Namanoth?
Well, no, he is Namanoth. He's trying to... I think you're confused between
I'm
names.
confused. There's a lot of lore being thrown around here.
Yes, no, we believe he is Namanoth is trying to resurrect Mathlan, but in
that's
corrupted
right.
form.
That's the other name.
That's
that
the one.
I did not
Mathlan,
pick up on.
Namanoth. Do you want me to go down the list of all 6 names?
No, that's all right. I think
sure?
I got things squared away.
First, there's Volida.
No, all right, that's enough. Is he trying to become some kind of new Mathlan? He's trying to godify himself?
We don't know.
All we know is that the children of Mathlan had been scattered and were hiding because of this. And from the one that we spoke to, they had shared the names and like who and what they were. And that is how we found out about the merworm. And that's how we found out about Torlin. And so the concern here is that, Torlin is our home, and that if he is hunting them down one by one, and I don't think we know exactly if all or how many remain, just why is he doing it? I mean, he's kidnapping people. We saw many people and souls being kidnapped down into the deep. and now he's also hunting the children. So, I mean, it can't be for anything good. It has to be for power.
I'd have to agree
What
with that.
else would it be?
It doesn't sound like you go around hunting giant beasts just for kicks. And she looks at Val.
And Val's just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I also look at him.
I think we all just kind of look at.
Yeah, there's
Phallus.
everybody at once.
Sorry, Phallus.
Has anyone talked to Tolan about this?
Not yet. I'm hoping to commune with her soon. But I'm worried about sharing too much information.
This all feels like something that she should know about.
Yes.
Why are you worried about sharing too much information? Why would we keep anything from her?
So Frostlade's not great at hiding his feelings, and he actually sits up a little straighter and kind of nervously looks at the leaders of the expedition as he says,
I'm just not sure who we can...
and then he looks down kind of guiltily,
who we can trust.
and he quickly adds in,
Oractus is not necessarily an ally.
and then he looks around again and he says,
Oractus is the giant octopus that told us most of this.
And I just kind of like,
And he really likes books.
I kind of rub
Hold
my
up a
eyelids,
second.
just like, oh, God.
he Frostglade catches your expression. He just like long shrug, like he's well out of his comfort zone here.
Well, maybe we should stop talking about this and go on with the proceedings, shouldn't we?
As you're talking about this as a group, there's a moment where Mollusk, the branch witch, kind of raises a kind of curled, knotty hand, and she says,
Scouts have seen something off the southern coast of our glade. It was a great shape moving across the waters. A beast that we've never seen size of before. This was only a few days ago. We haven't wanted to go back to the area since because we saw great blood spurting throughout the waters. But if you're looking for children, perhaps you'd like to take a look.
Yes, so we'll mark that down on our mini-map.
I've marked it on your map.
How did you do that? You're on the other side of the auditorium.
she throws a dart with a page at the map. Yeah.
Yeah, Phallus is like, he looks excited. He hears octopus, like, yes? And everybody looks at him, shakes their head, and like, oh. And he hears what this like blood, like giant creature's like, huh? They're like, no. And they're like, ah.
Fal, you got to get a new hobby. You got to find something.
You guys never
different
let
to
me do anything fun.
Tequila, in that regards, I believe a militia should be trained from across the islands.
Yes, I mean, we have some limited forces here, but not enough to repel any significant invasion.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll need to try and see what we can levy. He kind of looks towards the islands in question. None of these really have a large enough population density for us to pull out a well-trained army. Perhaps we can look to Gromer's Town, if any. And Bolga, the ogre, kind of like gives the little like hand side to side motion, like, I mean, there's some possibility there, but I'm not really sure I would necessarily trust these corsairs and brigands to defend my critical fortress on the back of a demigod. Just my take.
Well,
That's
we
a
might
hot
need to
take.
requisition. Yeah, that is a hot take, yes. We may need to requisition more forces then, in some way or another. Or at the very least, look for more allies on the islands.
Well, what about the Stormcast? Isn't this kind of their initiative? Can't you call down more troops? Can't you clap your hands?
I just look at Tequila and just kind of like, kind of raise my arms. Just kind of like, well, I mean, how do you want to take this one? Like,
I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, but it does feel like us mortal folk are doing most of the heavy lifting around here.
Well, I understand there's some... There's many things happening across the mortal realms. When you reopen 9 magical realms to be, released from the grip of chaos, resources can be somewhat grim when you have these angels coming down from the heavens of reforged souls. Unfortunately, needed elsewhere.
in more critical situations.
Yeah, you're much more critical than the resurrection of an old god, of course. Yeah.
Surprisingly, you would be surprised how many more critical things there are than that.
I mean, then color me surprised.
I just want to say that when Cass threw shade at Argos, we had 3 perfect O mouths from the other cast members. We're all like,
oh, snap.
Yeah, I was literally snapping my fingers.
Yeah, that is going to be, yeah.
Yeah, it is something that I have been thinking about for a while. I'm glad that came up.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Well, let's all go, grow some crops and, make some spells now.
Let's go repair our armor or whatever.
I'm going to talk to a turtle. We got our priorities, right? It's fine, guys.
And then Dakota kind of clears his throat. Any other business from any of the council members to bring up? And there's some murmur, some more inane kind of comments or questions and stuff like that. But you notice a couple people, raise their hands. One of which being a very stout dwarden sitting at one of the tables. Okri raises his hand. So one thing I've been thinking about recently.
It's like he's in the room.
He became Irish suddenly.
I think maybe this requires just a touch of explanation.
Sure.
Yeah,
go for it.
Just Dave is taken over for Okri because as he's no longer a PC, Nico has relinquished control of him.
He's
and
no
that
Dave's
wasn't
been
Nico?
my
practicing-
control.
Dave's been practicing very hard on his Okri voice.
I listened to every episode and distilled it down into that.
That's pretty good.
I've been working my connections, and what I really found out was someone's interested in buying that Ignis Jade that we've been sitting on for like a month or so. So if we're interested, we can make a connection. I'll mark it on your map, and we can make some extra coin, if you know what I mean.
No, Okri, what's happened to you?
I'm gonna retire Meriss, and Dave's gonna play Meriss. in the
Everybody
future.
retire your
Hey,
character.
howdy, everybody. It's me, Meriss. Yeah.
Spot on.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. Back to cool.
Oh
that
my
was a
God.
real
Okay,
life
cool.
Okri.
Yeah,
Real
a
life,
real
yeah.
life Okri.
The one from real life.
And then after that, Bolga raises his hand. I've been working my contacts to see if there's anybody that would be able to help us out, given our current situation. I received a letter from an old ally of mine who, would be willing to help us out and lend some insight in these operations. They like to keep to themselves, so I'm not going to reveal their identity until, you go seek them out in person. But this person is highly skilled in the arts of medicine and has a lot of good experience that we could potentially pull from. So if you want to seek them out, I'll mark it on your map as well.
If Frostglade was more impetuous, or if it was easier to speak as Frostglade, he might have blurted out something like "smugglers" when Volga was talking about his connections. But fortunately, he doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Okay.
Tequila, have we any news from the rest of the realm? Anything going on the outside?
Yes. Well, we've received word that what's happening in Anvilgard is making its way out here. I think you might have heard a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm.
The Shuridan, the vessel that seems to be deploying corsairs throughout this region, have also been sighted in the northern reaches. So he kind of pauses and glances at Phallus very briefly and kind of passes over. If you're willing to seek them out, I wouldn't necessarily expect a frosty welcome from what we've been hearing. Or you shouldn't be expecting a warm welcome. Oh, got that one backwards.
Oh, that would have been bad.
Oh my!
Well, if there's no other business, we can break. And Argos, I'd like to speak with you as well.
Excellent.
Question as a player, not as a character. Whatever happened to I can't remember the person's name, the one who was in the lighthouse, who used to be the main communicator with Torlin?
Oh,
Arrhenius.
yes. Oh, yeah, right. What happened? What's
Yeah.
up with Arrhenius? Before we break, what's the deal with Arrhenius?
It's just the deal. It just makes me chuckle.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
What's the deal with airline food?
That is one of the things I need to talk to you about.
All right. Well, I guess that's Stormcast business.
Get the
More
fuck out of here,
snaps.
everyone else. Frostblade leaves.
Cool.
All right.
Meriss falls.
Yeah, as I get up, I'm like, all of you, well, before I know I'm with the newest, I'm the new guy here. finger quotes, but go in Sigmar's light, and I just kind of leave.
You call
Had a
after
moment of
us
like,
as we're leaving.
actually, never mind.
I think maybe Cass will go up to Meriss really quick here, be like, ain't Aranius the one that you found that grave sand from?
Yeah.
You don't want to be a part of this conversation at all? You don't want to stay in the loop about that? You just want to...
Well, I mean, we could eavesdrop. She's whispering that, so no one else is hearing it. Let me just say that. She's not just saying it like
Eavesdrop,
super
drop,
out loud.
drop.
Yeah, Cass winks and like kind of does a little hat tip,
Meriss tries
wink,
to
nudge,
wink
nudge.
back, but she just blinks back at
Just
Cass.
Just two
blinks.
eye.
Yeah, exactly.
Cass-
2 eyes
Cass
and
picks up her
nods.
meaning. Yeah, we follow, but like
We follow.
casually, but like not too casually,
Yeah, Meriss
Sure.
doesn't like. Meriss looks super casual to the point that why is she that casual?
So for context, like if you're gonna hide, you can hide. But if you were seen in this area so far, it would not be out of the ordinary because you sleep here, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, but like we're
You
just
just happen to
acting like we're
walk
not,
and stop at the same time they do.
Yeah.
Right.
We're trying to say that we're not making it obvious that we're following them. We're just going to our quarters normally.
Yep.
But like Meriss also looks a little sus.
Oh yeah, we look at pretty. Yeah, we're very
So-
suspect. We're
As you make your way through the different quarters and everything, you kind of like hear like the pitter patter of small footsteps in rooms as people kind of make their way through the keep, and you're working your way towards the upper levels. You pass by Meriss's room. I think Meriss, you were next door to where Aranius' quarters were, which also kind of signifies
Yes.
where where the Soulbound's quarters stop, and then the Stormcast chambers begin. So the 4 of those, they kind of walk through the halls, and they come to a big, like, very ornate-looking gate, and they open up. The Tequila pushes it open, and they walk inside. I'll describe it from Argos's perspective. Inside here is this inner sanctum. It is highly ornate with pretty much like gold gilded walls, big portraits of past battles with the Stormcast, some, like lush cloth tapestries that have hung down. You might have been in here before, just basically when you kind of were getting situated, but the others have not been allowed in here. And then as soon as the 4 of them are through the doors, they close it. So Meriss and Cass, you have one chance to do. Actually, what's your natural awareness?
2.
2?
Mine is also 2.
Okay, so you see, it's kind of like a, if you could imagine a Pokeball or a circle, whichever you prefer. There are 2 doors on the one on the left, one on the right, and you kind of have this almost like foyer sort of situation. So they walk into the room, and you see 2 doors on either side, and then they close the door behind you, and that's all you can see in that moment.
They close the door behind us, so we're in there.
No!
Yeah.
Bamboozled.
This is
behind
from
them.
my perspective. They closed the door behind me.
from Argos, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, easy. I'll take out a shot glass, put it up against the door, and listen in, and then I'll wave to Meriss. I'll be like, Meriss, do you walk through walls thing? You get on in there.
And Meriss looks at Cass and like points at Cass's head and back and forth. Like we're in the same mind frame.
Same page. All right.
I like that
I'll
Cass
hold
has
the
a
fort
shot
out here.
glass in her person all the time.
Meriss is gonna cast a natural
Do it to them, yeah.
what is it called again? Knight's touch on herself. So wish me luck.
Okay.
Because this will be great if I fuck it up.
Mhm.
Is this literally going to be the 5th or 6th time that Pickles just gets dumped onto the floor unexpectedly? Because this happens every single session.
I think Pickles is still with Frostblade at this point. Okay.
Oh, okay, fine. We're playing.
And I need a 5 DN and 5 2. Guess what? I failed it. I
Uh-oh.
got only one.
How badly?
Okay, so we're gonna
One
have to roll
success.
on that chart, aren't we?
So I get to roll a dice and see where it lands, and that will be the price of failure. And I got 10 Arcane energy floods your
Oh.
mind, momentarily disorienting you. You are stunned until the end of the next turn.
Oh, thank God.
Okay.
I was like, please don't roll. Oh God, please don't
So-
roll high.
So Cass, your ear is up to the door. Actually, why don't you go ahead and do an awareness mind on? Give me a 5.
All right.
And I'll describe what happens.
Awareness mind. 4 dice. I'm gonna get to use my little dice tower.
Ooh.
All right, we got a 6-5-5-3.
Amazing. Okay, so you hear 4 sets of footprints, heavy metal footprints that are fairly easy for you to track even through this massive door. They head off to the left of the entrance through a doorway.
I turn over to Meriss, and she's just sitting there, like eyes open,
Yeah.
mouth agape.
Yeah, Meriss, you look back and Meriss is actually like slumped against the wall, eyes rolled back for a moment. It looks like,
Oh,
and
God.
she's like mouth open, agape, drooling slightly. Pickles is kind of like up on, like she's standing. Pickles is he or she? I can't remember.
Pickles is on Frostglade.
But Pickles is on Frostglade.
Oh, okay. All right, never mind. Pickles is okay.
I stand up and Meriss, dear, and just like kind of start slapping her face about.
Can we get some Foley for that?
That's just me clapping.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Oh,
that's good.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, Meriss,
I
you
can
after a few moments, you can come back into consciousness. You're being
I can
smacked in the
still
face repeatedly.
move. What?
Come on,
What?
come on, get your head in the game. We gotta
I'm
move.
sorry, it didn't work.
I push in the door,
Okay.
or I open. it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a
Sure.
weird way of saying I
You push
opened the door.
Meriss at the door. I try to push her through it.
You're going in first.
I push at the door.
Yeah, you peer inside and you notice that there's no one inside the door. There's the door that you were kind of like looking towards where you heard them go has been closed. The door that you were kind of standing at before is this quite thick, ornate kind of like reinforceable door, whereas inside it's a lot more ornate, over defensible. So you can kind of tell that like this whole area is the kind of the inner sanctum for where these stormcasts are spending their days.
We tiptoe over to the next door as sneakily as we can, and I think, I mean, it only makes sense. Meriss, you got to do the walk through walls thing. Yeah, I need
I
you.
tried, and you saw what happened. You want me to try again?
You just look like you fell asleep, darling.
So just I've never looked at this table before, so for the listeners, I want them to understand how dangerous failing a spell is.
Yeah.
That roll that
So-
you made could
Yep.
have resulted in you rolling a d6 and suffering the damage directly as wounds, which, if I understand correctly, basically a 5 and above ends you. Would that be correct?
One of the description is the
Ah.
magic you have lost control of begins to destroy you from the inside out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how dangerous
magic's-
this is. And Meriss is like,
Magic's dangerous.
oh, I don't want to walk through the door. I'm going to walk through the wall.
Meriss, do it again. Let's go.
Okay, Meriss doing it again. Godspeed. Oh, look at that. Wait, that one I have to roll. We got successes.
Mhm,
So,
Second
She
time's a
becomes
charm.
transparent. She can
Okay.
walk through walls. And
Somewhere
she's going to
elsewhere on Torlin, Pickles falls to the floor.
Yeah.
And she's gonna like proceed forward, and we'll see what happens.
And is she? Here's the question: is she invisible?
No.
Ethereal,
Okay.
almost.
So what I want her to do is, if we have like a general idea, is just gently put her face through the wall,
hmm
just the front, so she's just like peering through the wall to see where things are.
Dylan is so on the same page as me right now. This is perfect.
Okay. Inside the chambers, I'll describe it from, because you guys are a little bit behind in the timeline. I'll describe when Meriss' head bursts through. So it's Argos. You're standing in this room with Big Thunderguns, who is your Knight Heralder. He's basically wearing this kind of brassy armor with bare arms, and he's got like the head of a Mournfang as like a sculpted helmet.
Nice.
You're with Tequila, who you're a little more familiar with at this point, and you also have Farrell. So after at that moment, you kind of see hear the doors kind of clang shut behind, and then you notice Tequila kind of like slumps forward slightly and kind of like lets out a heavy breath, and he heads over to the wall and leans a his celestial trident against the wall. Farrell, sits back and is just that cool Farrell pose where she's kind of leaning against the wall,
one leg up
back
on
to
the wall.
door. Yeah,
Nice.
and her star eagle is kind of flies up and takes perch on the top of the room, and Tequila, kind of like turns and looks at Argos like, "You came at a good time, Argos. Something's happening."
Yes. What's going on with Spitesworn?
Spitesworn is investigating some business. We can get to that, but it's actually really not the most worrying thing. Have you heard about what happened to Lawless?
Yes, I have heard what happened to Lawless, and
front row seat. Sort
must
of.
say,
Anyway.
I was not impressed.
No, and and then I think at this point, Meriss, I think you'd probably be leering in. Do a stealth body.
Just they're gonna look over and see an eye poking through the wall. It's
Just a full face, just
with advantage, of course,
Yeah, with
because
advantage.
she's in a wall. I mean,
Yeah.
You don't expect people to
so-
make faces to pop through walls.
yeah,
Yeah.
when they say the walls have ears, they didn't mean this.
Yeah.
So go ahead and roll it. It's going to normally be 5s because you're leering in at them, but with advantage, should have gone down to 4s. They have their natural awareness that you need to beat in order to do this.
So it's at least 2 from me.
Okay.
Meter beat.
Well,
2
I
dice.
got a 6 and a 2.
So
what happens?
So is that the final roll?
That's yeah.
Soul power. Reroll the 2.
soul fire. What about your trader's cash?
Okay, if you still have them available, I'll allow that. Yeah, you don't regenerate them yet, though. But yeah.
No, because I haven't rerolled. I have 1,
Yep.
so I'm going to use 1.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, oh, do love me some PvP. It was gonna be a moment of like, oh boy.
I would have actually really liked to see them all turn and see Mariss's face in the wall
And just okay,
like a double take.
Yeah.
So yeah, meat is beat in this system. So Meriss, you're able to observe what's happening. Okay. Essentially what had happened was Lawless was speaking with Meriss, and he wanted her alone to talk through something. I was dismissed at that point, and the assumption, or the thought at least, was that he was going to assist her with various things. Turns out that Lawless had been compromised, and I have never in my many lives heard of a Stormcast being infected with a demon.
Yes, no, neither have I. It's concerning to say the least.
Now, I don't know how this took root, and something big is happening here, and we need to be prepared. Because I don't want someone in the group, someone not in this scene, to roll me a D4. Either Frostblade or Phallus roll a D4.
Go ahead, Murray.
I thought there was a D6 system. I don't have a D4 ready.
In that
what
case,
is
I'm rolling
this?
a D4.
All right, Ike's doing it.
1.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
God.
Oh no.
The Order of Azir is going to be here in just over 1 week. And if we don't figure out what's happening with this chaotic influence, the most likely thing that's going to happen is they're going to shut down the mandate, and they're going to make sure that we can't, risk tainting this land any further. So either we figure out what's going on, stall for time, and root out whatever this corruption is, or things are about to get a lot more complicated.
What do you mean by complicated? Are some of the members of the Binding in their crosshairs?
Well, it's possible. Every one of us is, in fact. If
Every
what
one
we're
of
seeing
us.
is
Even
every
us.
one of us, except you, Argos.
Yes.
They're going to look at each of us except you, because you are just new here, right?
Mhm.
You're the new guy. They're not going to blame you. But Soulbinding and us and anyone that's associated with us is going to face the full fury of an Inquisition.
Well,
And they're a lot less lenient than we are.
I was actually funny you mentioned that. I meant to say you've grown soft, Tequila.
Whoa.
Tequila kind of narrows his eyes. Biggs actually kind of pushes himself off the wall and kind of looks at you. And he says, well, what are you going to do about it? Are you intending to actually accept this task? What I really want to do here is make sure the binding is intact.
Mm-hmm.
If we have to pull them apart, they're one soul. If one of them is compromised, they all will be.
Let me put it this way. I come down, bolt of lightning, as we always do, to rescue 2 petrified statues of 2 of the members of this binding. And I find out when I get to the your headquarters that one of them has maybe not made a deal with the demon, but has been influenced and been given magical abilities she is, let me be clear, clearly not ready for. Lawless becomes corrupted. Lord Veritant, they are supposed to be our witch hunters. He was corrupted. I find you sitting here doing barely nothing to fortify Torlin.
Eating Fireslayer boughs.
Yeah. Yeah, clearly enjoying Fireslayer boughs, and I glance down at his belly. Biggs, I don't even know what you're doing. You have no idea where your other Knight Questor is. Frankly, I'm not sure if I would even get in the Order of Azir's way. Unless we turn this ship around, metaphorically, please, we do need to keep going further, then frankly, I see no reason to stop the witch hunters.
If the witch hunters come here, we're dooming this entire archipelago to languish with chaos for longer. If the Inquisition comes down and they stop what we're doing here, if Namanoth is trying to summon something, they're not going to believe our stories. That sounds incredibly far-fetched, right?
True. Absolutely.
The only chance that we have of stopping Namanoth and, revealing whatever is happening with these children is to make sure that the Inquisition isn't going to get in our way and stop that. And you know that we're not going to be able to reason with them.
Yes, no, I do know that. Better hope we can turn this around then.
And then he kind of pauses and he looks towards Farrell, and she kind of lets out a sigh like, well, we found a storm on the horizon. We think it might have something to do with the Lord of Change and Tzeentch. I saw it when they went out with the Karajan fleet and they came under attack, and those clouds moved. It ambushed the fleet and they kept moving. And she hands you a scroll with a location on a map.
Sounds good. Marks it on my mini map.
Yeah. If there's somewhere, if this Tzeentchian influence is somewhere, it might be here.
Here on Torlin.
No, on the place on the map that I just gave you.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I was misleading, my bad.
No, it's okay. I wasn't very clear. Tequila kind of pauses again and he says, I don't know what's happening with Meriss. I don't know where these supposed powers have come from and everything like that, but if she's a mole, then she needs to be dealt with immediately, right?
Yes,
but
absolutely.
If it's not her doing and she's some kind of red herring, then we need to know that too.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure what I can do, since my expertise does not lie in rooting out evil from the civilized world and from our own cities, but I'm sure that us four can get something going.
He says, well, I mean, if Meriss is going to be anywhere, with you is probably the safest place. So if you can take her, investigate this, and if she's not going to be involved, then you probably want her there with you as well.
Yes, that makes sense.
And then he kind of pauses and he reaches into a bag and pulls out a cube of grave sand and puts it on the table.
I take a step back.
Found this.
What? Where did you find this?
We found it in Aranius' chest in her quarters when we searched it.
What?
And she went missing shortly after, or we found this shortly after she went missing, I should say.
Who found this?
Well, we went and searched her quarters and found it.
Yes, but you did?
Just a note for the audience. You guys put it back in her chest.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we did. Okay,
yeah.
Right.
We did.
Yeah.
I forgot. What? It was like, whoop, put that back there. Nope.
You did tell Decula about it.
Yeah,
though.
it's true.
You,
yeah,
told him where to.
That's
find
right.
it.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
I don't know where she got this. We've heard stories about slates showing up throughout the Sigmar Isles. I'm not sure how this connects to Zinch, but it clearly has some kind of, magical influence. I was talking with Ekram from Glade's Edge, and they saw these showing up on her island shortly before the undead were arriving. So it has clearly some connection with death magics.
Does it have anything to do with the Nephrian island we discovered? With what was the name of the king? Orion? Does it have anything to do with that?
Potentially. From what we were able to tell, I was talking with Jabari Hawk about what he was saying. One of his people were talking about. It seems that this Ignis Jade was corrupted and turned into this glass. So there are souls, and it's slightly different than the normal gravesend we would see. It is corrupted Ignis Jade that turns into these obsidian slates.
I just shake my head.
Someone was delivering these things across various islands and influencing the inhabitants.
Grave news, pardon the pun.
Ha.
What was that?
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Great necromancer on one side, the changer of ways on the other. This revenant sire underneath. I'm not sure what we can do here.
Meriss, how long does your spell last?
1 minute. So
Okay, that's about... How many successes did you get?
it was just one. So I'm gonna assume Meriss is starting to
You're
feel
yeeting out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, Meriss is feeling herself just starting to solidify, and she just pulls her head back out of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So Argos, you have a long-term goal, which you can supplant your own or add, which is to root out the source of chaos corruption.
I will change that, actually. That sounds great.
So I'm guessing that Meriss literally pops out of the wall, is shoved out as the magic fades.
I picture it's almost like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Spilled out all over the
There's
floor.
a little pop.
Yeah.
And
falls back on her ass.
Cass pulls the shot glass off off the door, and she's wide-eyed, and she looks at Meriss, and she's like, "Did you heard that?" And we got. Yeah, there's a little bit of panic, and they just scuttle out of the room.
Gesticulating wildly and not able to really form words.
Muppet running away. Yeah,
yeah, and but we're hurried now, and in the halls when we can be a little bit louder. Cass is just we got to make our way to the rest of the binding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starwipe to us, Frostglade, Phallus, and then Okri as well, because he's still.
Oh, hello everybody! What's going on? Still nice to be involved. Not really doing this as much anymore, but
so good to hear your voice.
Souls are still binded
I'll
to
be
our
right back,
soul.
guys.
All right. So yeah, we just to make things quick, we let everybody know what we were doing and what we found out. And Cass is sitting there. She's like,
Order Vizier, 1 week.
I think we should be making ourselves scarce. I'm not 100%. I trust these Stormcasts anymore. It sounds like Decula might be, on our side, but might be rooting for us. But the greater order of things might not be so pleased with Meriss, and by extension of association, the rest of us. And I'm not quite sure what this Inquisition intends to do if they don't like the state of affairs, but I don't want to be around to find out. I'm going to put forth a suggestion here. I think we should retreat to Caldera and not tell anybody where we're going.
And leave all of these people.
No, well, we wouldn't be leaving them. We'd still be trying to accomplish a task, but just from a different HQ, or at least lying low, out of sight of these Inquisitors for a time, anyways.
What do we know about the Inquisition, Dave?
Yeah, great question. Why don't you folks go ahead and roll? Let's do a theology mind. Hit 4s and tell me how many you get.
Finally, I get to use my 3 training in theology.
Just one.
Somehow Phallus has 2 successes.
Okay, so a couple 2s.
I guess I got a 1 if it was a 4. I didn't hear that part.
Okay. Yeah, it was a 1, yeah. Okay, cool. So, Phallus and Meriss, I think you maybe both have maybe experienced this in your past in some way. I'd be curious how you know. But the Order of Azir is essentially they have a reputation for being incredibly brutal. If there's a infection of chaos in a certain place, they will root it out with extreme prejudice, and that means people will get interrogated, killed. There has been stories of them like exterminating entire villages if the corruption is deep enough. And it's the sort of thing where they do not risk the spread. It's kind of like, if you can imagine relevant times, if something gets incredibly it's almost like treating a disease where they just isolate it and just wipe it out.
So when they say shut down the operation, they're not saying, okay, you guys go home now, I'll stop. No, they're just gonna kill and wipe everybody out.
Scorched earth policy. They fucking burned the thing to the ground.
So Frostglade definitely doesn't know any of that. So I think he's the one who asks the question. So I guess the question for Meriss and was it Phallus? You guys, the two of you knew?
Yeah. I'd imagine Phallus was probably concerned about Meriss and was quizzing Tequila, just kind of what kind of things might be happening. So he probably hears about it from Tequila.
Okay,
cool. Yep.
Do you guys share that information? If Frostglade asks,
tell me about the Inquisition.
They're an awful lot. Willing to go in as far as anyone to root out what they perceive is corruption. They even wiping out entire villages. They show no mercy, and it's hard to negotiate with them.
It sounds like all the more reason to fly the coop.
We still have a week, Cassilas. We can perhaps points at the minimap, deal with some of these in the meantime, but perhaps start establishing a safe haven, as it were. If not Caldera, then perhaps with the Solanas.
Meriss is super quiet. She hasn't really said anything this whole time, and Pickles senses something's wrong, and she scuttles off of Frostglade and jumps on Meriss, and Meriss is just kind of staring at the ground and pipes up and going, or maybe I need to leave, and maybe I need to go into hiding just myself while we're waiting for those agents of order to come here, because we can't all abandon Torlin.
You did hear them though. They said that it was all of us, since we're all connected, same soul and all.
And then Meriss just kind of sighs, and she's like, but I am also the reason.
It might be worse for the rest of us left behind. I think I'm highly recommending that we all just shove off this very evening.
Meriss, maybe you could come clean with everything that you've done. Maybe the Night Questers could help you. Maybe you could stop going down this path.
Come clean to what? To the Order of Azir? You think they're gonna believe me? Do you think that's gonna matter? What have I done? I have done nothing but the pursuit of knowledge. I haven't actively looked out agents of chaos or demons. What does it matter to them? They only answer to Sigmar. If they want to come and wipe us all out, they will. So what is coming? We can run. And Meriss is kind of just seeming like she's slowly starting to panic until someone stops her.
Okri kind of taps his foot into the dust a little bit and kind of looks over well, we could always ask Voss. And he looks over at Meriss.
Who is Voss? Meriss, this is what I'm talking about. You haven't been truthful with us. You're hiding something. Okri, what do you know?
He kind of subconsciously glances down at his pistol, there is the demon that was took out Lawless is it's out there somewheres.
I'll mark it on your minimap.
Not again.
Lawless was possessed by Voss. Voss escaped, and I wouldn't know how to contact Voss, and I don't know if that's a good idea.
I'd agree with that. We don't need to be going contacting demons in the light of an Inquisition coming down on us. Sounds kind of counterintuitive to me.
Frostglade storms off He's heading for Torlin's head, and he just he gives everyone a hard stare, and it's clear he doesn't have maybe the communication abilities. He certainly doesn't have the knowledge to really deal with this, but he knows that he's got a goal, and he's pretty pissed off. So he storms off.
Phallus puts a hand on Meriss' shoulder. Don't worry about Frosty. He'll cool off. He'll come around. Castellas, I guess. Let's start our preparations, just so we have options in the future.
I'm gonna be packed and ready for tonight. We got to get off this turtle.
I hear you. Mr. Oakley, right. I hope you will stay safe as well. It's good seeing you.
Well, it sounds like it might be time to do a little bit of an expedition, make some new contracts, see the world, far away from here.
Oakley, God darn it.
Actually, speaking about new expeditions, Oakley, in light of all this, I might have a new expedition for you to undertake. And she grabs him by his shoulder and walks him off.
Just picks him up. Yeah.
No, she puts a hand on his shoulder. She doesn't pick him up like a baby.
Cass does have a body of 4.
Yeah.
Just
5.
Just puts him under her armpit and just goes.